We're going to get into 6 principles of economic freedom, okay? And when I was thinking about this presentation, getting ready to get it together here today, I thought, it's a very quote-heavy presentation. There's a lot of quotes in this. And we get into the Constitution, we hit probably 5 or 6 clauses, but not nearly as many as we do in the other presentations. But I think my thought on this is if we can get into the minds and the hearts of our founders and understand what they thought about economics, what they thought about the proper role of government in the economy, then we can understand, okay, how do we impose that or transpose that onto the Constitution and see what these different clauses they had, why they wrote them that way, okay? So anyway, there's a lot of quotes. Be ready, but it's fun. There's a lot of good quotes. The first one I think is very good by Thomas Jefferson. It's very much an underlying foundational quote. The policy of the American government is to leave their citizens free, neither restraining nor aiding them in their pursuits. That is the essence of government involvement in the economy. Stay out of the way. Don't aid them. Don't restrain them. The proper role of government is to protect our rights, and that has very little to do with the economy. The economy will be run by people who are free. Okay? Next quote by Thomas Jefferson again. He says, in political economy, I think Smith's Wealth of Nations the best book. What are we talking about? Smith's Wealth of Nations. Does Adam Smith ring a bell? Okay, he wrote a book called Wealth of Nations, a huge, great, comprehensive book. Now, a lot of the things that were written in Wealth of Nations weren't original ideas. Some of them were. But to pull those all together into one comprehensive book was, yes, very much a revolutionary idea. Okay? So what is this Smith's Wealth of Nations? What did he say in the Wealth of Nations? Apparently Jefferson had read it, right? And he said, hey, I like this book. It's the best book out there to teach us about political economy. So what did Adam Smith propose? There's 5 principal things that he proposed, okay? The first thing he proposed is specialization of production. If you're good at raising corn, you're good at raising hogs, and I'm good at building houses, why don't we just focus on that and do our very best at that? There's some real economies gained there, right? Economization that's gained because I'm good at it. I don't have to spend my time changing and raising corn or changing and raising pigs. What if we all just do our very best at our own single specialization and then we engage in trade, right? And if you're more efficient with your resources, what does that mean? You're more productive. And if you're more productive, that means you're more wealthy. Okay, so the Wealth of Nations, that's the title of his book, you can get more wealthy by having specialization of production. Okay? Secondly, he argued for and established this idea of supply and demand. Okay? Supply and demand is a pretty simple economic principle. When there's a demand for something, the market supplies that. If there's not a demand, then the market won't supply that. Or if there's a surplus, there's too much supply and no demand, they'll end up selling it for a lower and lower price, etc. So supply and demand brings us to the next point. The next point is price tells the market what to produce and how much. Pretty simple idea, right? If there's a price point, the market determines that. No one sets that. The market determines it. If something's very popular, what's going to happen to the price? It's going to go up. If something's not popular, what's it going to do? It's going to go down. Okay? And it's all determined by free individuals who say you're meeting my needs or you're not meeting my needs. Price determines that. All right, so moving on to the fourth point. Competition keeps prices low and quality high. Okay, it's just a simple example. Okay, I'm making a killing on leather boots. I'm selling for $100 a piece to everyone, and it only costs me like $50 to produce them. I'm just making a killing. What's going to happen? Well, because they're popular, I'm making a good price, I'm going to have competition, aren't I? Someone else is going to come in and say, I can make those same boots for $90. And what's going to happen to all my market share? It's gone. Everyone's going to buy their boots, okay? Assuming you have the same quality. But he's selling them for 90. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to sell them for 80. Then my competitor says, well, I'm going to sell them for 60. And I say, well, I'm going to sell them for 55. That's about as low as the price can go. The whole time, though, what else are we competing on? We're competing on quality. We're going to not only say these aren't the same boots. Mine are better boots. Mine are higher quality for a lower price. And what happens to the market? Competition makes the market produce higher quality and lower priced goods. That's the essence, that's the definition of economics, right? Using your resources more efficiently and creating that wealth with the same resources. Competition is what does that. It's what keeps the price low and the quality high. Lastly, profits and losses motivate economic decisions. If that weren't the case, if the government's safety net was so high that you felt it lifting on you all the time, then what would I do? If I knew that, gosh, no matter what happens, any losses I have will be recovered. They'll be bailed out by the government. What am I going to do? I'm going to make stupid decisions. I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing that's wrong. A bad idea. Don't do that. But I'm going to say, well, it doesn't matter if I do it, because if I fail, they're going to pick me up. Okay? What about profits? What if there are no profits? Why wake up in the morning? What's the point? Okay, government's just going to take care of me anyway. Why even wake up? Why go out to work? Why struggle? Why get a sunburn? And why stress my muscles? Why not just chill and relax? Profits and losses motivate economic behavior. Okay? And that's important to understand that. And who governs that? The free market does. People, individuals make those choices on an individual basis. The government doesn't manage that. When the government tries to, and they try to make a command economy, you get socialism and you get communism. You get something that falls apart because it doesn't work. No system is smart enough to manage all this. Only people themselves get to choose for themselves. That's what freedom's all about. Okay? So that's what his Wealth of Nations book, that's why Jefferson called it the best book existent at the time. Some good principles there. One other quote by Frederick Bastiat. If you haven't read Frederick Bastiat and The Law, it's an incredible book. I highly recommend it. Here's what he said. I love how he says, "A socialism, like the ancient ideas from which it springs, confuses the distinction between government and society. As a result of this, every time we object to a thing being done by government, the socialists conclude that we object to it being done at all." Okay? We disapprove of state education. Then the socialists say that we're opposed to any education. We object to a state religion. Then the socialists say that we want no religion at all. We object to a state-enforced equality. Then they say that we are against equality, and so on, and so on. It is as if the socialists were to accuse us of not wanting persons to eat because we do not want the state to raise grain. Well stated, right? Pretty interesting. Wait a second. Who's supposed to do all this stuff? What we're saying is socialists would say the government needs to provide this. Freedom lovers say, no, the government needs to get out of the way and let us provide it for ourselves. That's the essence of economic freedom. Okay, so that's principle number one, that the free market forces should control the economy, the government should not.